the Green Bay Packers find themselves at a fascinating and critical moment in the evolution of their identity as a football team, and especially as a defensive powerhouse, because what unfolded in their most recent matchup was not simply another strong game or another respectable performance, but rather a statement echoing through the league a message that the Packers' defense is pushing toward a level of dominance that demands attention even from the most skeptical observers, and even from analysts, who usually wait for larger sample sizes before acknowledging greatness. What makes this moment particularly intriguing is not only the impressive numbers posted in the win over the Minnesota Vikings, but also the combination of confidence and humility expressed by key players such as Micah Parsons, who, despite recording the sacks and being at the center of a suffocating defensive display, insisted that this defense has even more room to grow. Parsons emphasized that the unit is still identifying areas that require refinement, still discovering adjustments that could elevate them further, still learning ways to maximize their collective impact. His words were not a boast, but a grounded acknowledgement of potential to fully appreciate the significance of the Packers' current form. It helps to consider the broader statistical context. The Packers entered the week ranked 4th in the NFL in yards allowed per game, 2nd in yards allowed per play, and 5th in points allowed per game. These are not merely good rankings, they are elite rankings, and they place the team alongside some of the most successful defensive units in modern franchise history. According to data from Sportradar, the last time Green Bay allowed fewer points across a full season was during its 2010 championship campaign, and the last time the defense allowed fewer yards per game or fewer yards per play was all the way back in 1996, another season that concluded with a Super Bowl title. These comparisons are not thrown around lightly, and they reinforce that what is happening right now is statistically rare and historically meaningful. The second half of the game against Minnesota served as a prime example of just how high the ceiling may be for this group, because Green Bay held the Vikings to a mere 4 total yards across an entire half of football, an achievement so extreme that only one other team, the 2004 Buffalo Bills, had matched it in the last 2 decades, while also producing at least 3 takeaways. In that same stretch, the Packers' defense generated pressure and will force mistakes repeatedly and dictated every aspect of the contest. Despite playing without leading tackler Key Walker and losing cornerback Kysee and Nixon early in the game, these absences did not weaken the resolve of the defensive unit, nor did they diminish the clarity of its execution. Safety Xavier McKinney spoke after the game, and his assessment reflected both pride and respect for the work being done within the building. He declared that the Packers may very well have the best defense in the league, pointing not only to talent, but also to what he described as exceptional coaching from defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. McKinney emphasized that the synergy between Hafley's play calling and the players' discipline is creating a system that looks increasingly complete and increasingly formidable. It is important to acknowledge, however, that even as the defense shines, there are aspects of the team that require continued development. For instance, the offense struggled to produce explosive plays, with its longest gain from scrimmage covering only 18 yards. While this conservative approach was enough to secure victory against a Minnesota team that lacked the firepower to threaten Green Bay, it may not be sufficient in upcoming weeks given the difficulty of the schedule ahead, because after the Thanksgiving trip to Detroit, the Packers will enter a demanding stretch featuring 5 consecutive opponents with winning records before finishing the regular season on the road against the Vikings again. Every week will require offensive evolution and adaptability. Still, many individual performances deserve recognition. Emmanuel Wilson delivered an inspired effort while filling in for Josh Jacobs, rushing for 107 yards on 28 carries in his first NFL start. Daniel Whelan displayed tremendous consistency in the punting game, pinning Minnesota deep multiple times and maintaining an average of 47.5 yards. Evan Williams continued his promising trajectory by securing interceptions in consecutive games. Isaiah McDuffie brought relentless energy and physicality, leading the team with 9 tackles while also recording an interception and half a sack. Parsons and Devontae Wyatt each added to sacks, reinforcing the relentless pass rush. Anthony Belton, a rookie forced into a major role, unexpectedly played more than 2/3 of the offensive snaps after spending 3 games without a single offensive play. His composure, maturity, and technique were among the pleasant surprises of the afternoon. Conversely, Jordan Morgan saw a sharp reduction in playing time, participating in fewer than 1/3 of offensive snaps, a notable decline given that he had previously played every offensive snap in the 3 games leading into this matchup. Injury concerns remain part of the storyline. Keisean Nixon left the game with a stinger, while Key Walker, Josh Jacobs, Nate Hobbs, and Matthew Golden were unavailable due to a series of knee, shoulder, and neck injuries. All of these absences test the depth of the roster and make the defensive achievements even more impressive. Considering the number of adjustments required throughout the game, a particularly meaningful piece of information relates to Micah Parsons himself, whose season sack total has now reached 10. Parsons joins Reggie White as the only players in NFL history to record at least 10 sacks in each of their first 5 seasons, establishing himself as one of the great early career pass rushers of all time, and marking the first time a Packers defender has reached double-digit sacks since Zadarius Smith in 2020. Looking ahead, the Packers now prepare for a Thanksgiving matchup with the Detroit Lions, a game that carries implications not only for standings, but also for momentum, identity, and narrative. It marks the 3rd straight year in which the Packers will play on Thanksgiving, something that had not happened since the stretch from 1951 to 1963. The opportunity to sweep Detroit in the regular season adds emotional and competitive intensity to the contest. Now, as this chapter in the Packers season continues to unfold, it becomes clear that fans have much to discuss and much to anticipate. The defense is building something that may prove sustainable. The offense is searching for its breakthrough rhythm, and the schedule promises to challenge this team in meaningful ways. To everyone watching and following this journey, what do you think of the evolution of this Packers defense? Do you believe they can maintain this incredible pace as the season grows tougher? Share your thoughts, because your participation strengthens this community and deepens the conversation. If you appreciate this kind of detailed analysis, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the upcoming coverage as the season moves forward, step by step, game by game, and story by story.